right. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, who are on the webinar. We will be starting in 5 minutes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed members of our student body, faculty, and guests, thank you so much for joining us today at the Associate Students Election Forum. For those of you joining us on the web, on Zoom, thank you so much for joining us as well. My name is Cebelihle Hlatshwayo. I am your editor-in-chief of the Corsair, the student-run paper on campus. I am privileged to be standing here today in front of you all and conducting and moderating this event today. Before we dive into the heart of what this event is about today, I know that some of you are probably unfamiliar with the Associated Students or our student government body. Some of you are probably aware of it and probably just don't know the intricacies that go into being the associate students. So allow me to explain the significance of the associate students for you. The AS, as they are fondly known, serves as the official voice of the student body on campus. They are the representative body that are comprised of elected student officials who work tirelessly every day to ensure that your voice is heard, that your voice is heard, that your voice is seen by the powers that be, which are our Board of Trustees and any of the officials at Santa Monica College. Now, you might ask, why is it so important for you guys to be informed about the student body? Well, dear friends, the answer lies in the very essence of democracy and student empowerment. The AS acts as a bridge between the student body and the college's administration. It is through this body that your voices are amplified, your ideas are heard, and your grievances are addressed. The AS, however, is not simply just a bureaucratic entity. It is a platform for student leadership, engagement, and change. It provides opportunities for students like yourselves and these candidates to actively shape and foster a sense of community that transcends the boundaries of our classrooms. Today is not just about electing individuals to fill positions. It is about selecting leaders who will champion your interests and uphold the values of your student body. This forum is a statement to the Corsair's commitment to transparency, accountability, and democratic principles. It is an opportunity for you to engage directly with your peers, vying for these leadership roles, and make informed decisions that will shape your college community. With that said, I extend my best wishes to all the candidates and urge each and every one of you to actively ask questions, voice your concerns, and most importantly, exercise your right to vote. Thank you, and let the Associated Election Forum begin. So I am going to start by calling out all of the candidates for each category. David Duncan. David Duncan is the Associated President running for the Associated President. Tiffany Lee running for Associated Secretary. Associate Director of Student Outreach, Louisiane Tardone. Nora Ibrahim. Valeria Salgado. Students running for Associated Director of Publicity. That would be Gabriel Hernandez Perez. Associate Director of Sustainability would be Julia Kowalski. And Temilan Tenzi. All right. So you can sit down. AS Judicial Board position, Jingxi Zhang is currently not here with us today. And Edwana Guzman. All right. Okay. Thank you so much all for joining us. We are going to be starting with the AS Judicial Board position questioning. This is when we direct all our questions to our candidates about all the questions that we have to them about how they are going to lead us in their selected positions. Okay. All right. I apologize for that. It seems I forgot to call up our student trustees. That'll be Esmeralda Hernandez. You can come this side, sorry. Francis Yang. And Zoe Muntaner. Okay. Yes, they're gonna come out after. Okay. I'm gonna, because you're already sitting here. All right, okay. So, the students running for AS Judicial Board position, I'm gonna ask you one question, and you'll have 2 minutes to answer the question. All right. Julia, are you ready? All right. Oh, so Julia, your first question. How will you ensure fairness and impartiality in adjudicating cases brought before you at the Judicial Board?
In my role?
Yes, in your role.
Okay. Well, currently I'm the Commissioner of Sustainability, and the main projects that we're working on right now are oriented around sustainability and equity. So one project that we're currently trying to get implemented is solar umbrellas on the campus that would allow for students that have devices and they want to charge on campus. They can just sit in the quad, they can charge their devices. And I think that would make it more equitable for students who have to travel a long way and can't charge their devices prior, or they can't charge their devices on their way back. So I think that's one way that I, as a director of sustainability, would want to push fairness on this campus. And I just want to make it so that everyone that comes to this campus has equal opportunity. One thing that I would want to push for as the director of sustainability is having more plant-based options in the cafeteria. That way people with dietary restrictions or people that want to eat more sustainability conscious can do that. And I also want to make it so that utensils in the cafeteria are compostable, or we possibly get reusable utensils. But overall, as the Director of Sustainability, I really want to make sure that there's equality of opportunity so that everyone on campus can get involved in sustainability-related activities, and it's not limited to people that only know about events going on. I want to make sure that everybody's aware of how they can get involved on this campus.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So, are you ready for your question? How do you plan to educate students about their responsibilities and rights under the AS governing policies?
I think that's a very good question. I think under the AS governance, as Director of Sustainability, I think one of the main things that I could do sustainability-wise that I've been thinking could be improved vastly upon is outreach, and to have people know about sustainability and to know that what they can be doing can be much more beneficial to sustainability on campus. And sorry, what was the second part of the question?
How do you plan to, so it's just how you plan to educate people in terms of sustainability, in terms of the AS policies that you have?
Yeah, so I think one of the main things on educating people is to work with the publicity, with the student outreach, with Corsair News. And I'm pretty sure most people here have seen these signs on the recycling bins with recyclable and non-recyclable types of materials. And I think most importantly, it's about education on sustainability, because one of the main factors with recycling and why that sign was needed is because that in recycling, If you contaminate the bin, then that bin cannot be recycled as successfully. So say that someone accidentally throws in like a bottle of soda in the recycling bin, then that can contaminate it. Or they'll think like a receipt paper, which seems harmless for recycling, that can also contaminate the recycling. And I think it's more about knowledge on what a person can and cannot do.
Okay, thank you so much. So we're going to direct one question to the student body that they have for either of the candidates. Does anybody have a question? Okay, I will ask the final question because it's over there. Okay, absolutely.
Sorry. Karen Lopez here. If you are selected to your position, what would be your first action that you would take?
I think I have quite a few projects in mind. I think first off, that would be most accessible to campus is switching in the cafeteria especially, switching the receipt papers to a phenol-free alternative so that people don't accidentally throw in their receipts and so that the BPA can't contaminate the recycling bins. I think that's one of the things that I'm planning on. I guess another would be promoting our public transport and alternative transport options. For example, back a few years ago on the campus, we used to have a bigger bike parking lot where people could go and get their bikes fixed for free and just learn about transport.
Okay, Julia?
The first thing that I would do as Director of Sustainability is definitely get more water refill stations on campus, because I know personally that every building that I find myself in, I can't refill my water bottle, and so I either go thirsty the whole day, or I don't buy plastic water bottles, so I just go thirsty the whole day. But that's definitely something I would get implemented, especially in the business building, because I think we only have one refill station, and it doesn't really work very well. And another thing I would want to get implemented, as you said, is more awareness and accessibility to public transportation. I actually just worked with Students for Safer Streets to pass the Healthy Streets LA ballot, which is a measure that makes it so that there is reduced traffic and easier accessibility to public transportation in LA. And hopefully with the passing of that measure, it would make public transportation on and around SMC also easier. So yeah, those are two things that I would definitely want to focus on.
All right. Thank you so much to the both of you. Those are our student candidates running for Director of Sustainability. Yeah, of course.
This is for the gentleman. What are you running for?
For Director of Sustainability.
Are you also running for Director of Sustainability?
Yes.
Okay. How are you going to make those changes? You just for the identities. I don't.
Oh, it's Julia and Timlin. Sorry.
Okay. So this is for you. How will you push for it? Because I heard you speak about pushing for it. Like, what will you choose? Because that's your stance, and I can definitely see that this is your passion. I love your idea for the solar panels or the solar umbrellas. Thank you. How do you plan to push for that? Because that is something that a lot of people will tend to push away. Oh, it's too expensive, right? Because that people are not trying to be sustainable, right? They're not in government. They're not trying to be sustainable. How do you push that? Are we compromising? How do you talk about that in your stance? How do you plan to position yourself if you decide to get this role?
For sure. Well, currently I'm the Commissioner of Sustainability under our great Director of Sustainability, Joseph Sanchez. And I've learned a lot from him because he's very active in the SMC community and he really makes a stand on sustainability. And one thing I've learned through him is really just got to be vocal and don't think small, because likelihood is that if you research what you want to implement, you get quotes for what you want to implement, you make the connections that you need to make, and you go and attend every single board meeting and campaign for what you want to get done. It happens. Like, he's been able to pass a lot of things, and fortunately I've been by his side to work on the campaigning, work on the presentations, work on getting the quotes for what we want to implement at school. We've actually are planning an Earth Week event right now coming up this April, which I hope you guys all attend. But one thing that we're doing is a sustainability bingo, and whoever wins the sustainability bingo will win a bike or an electric bike. That's still in the works. But it's going to be an awesome opportunity, and the reason why we're able to get that done is because we're really advocating for ourselves. We're doing the research and we are promoting what we want to accomplish to the board. And yeah, thank you.
Cebelihle, that question will extend to you as well. How will you plan to push for the initiatives that you are trying to bring forward?
I think this is mainly about activism and students speaking out for the better. And I plan to work with the Sustainability Center and help push for this motive. For example, we have battery bins, we have paper-only bins on campus, and they happen for a reason, because people push for it and because people want to be more sustainable. And I think one of the ways that we can do that is to push for more so we can be more sustainable. For example, like, as you said, people are not trying to be sustainable. That's why my idea is to help prevent them from, prevent it in the middle, get rid of the factor that causes the problems, is what I plan.
Okay, thank you so much. Those are our two candidates running for AS Sustainability. Oh, there's another question.
This actually goes to both candidates. You both speak on how there already are options available for people, but they just don't seem to take them. Like you said, the battery bins, and there are the recycling bins. So I guess my question to both of you guys is, how do you plan to raise more awareness and get people to actually care about these options that are already available? Because I don't know whether it could be like incentivizing them to use these options or offering some sort of punishment if they don't for some reason, but like, how do you get people to use these options that are currently already available to them?
Phenomenal question. Thank you.
Thank you. That's actually a very good question. So I think what I would like to do on this is to work with publicity, with student affairs, with the Corsair news, and have it just be a wider spread knowledge, because people won't do what they don't know. And another thing is that they should be more accessible, because, like I said, the battery bins are in front of the Sustainability Center, but a lot of students here don't know where the Sustainability Center is, or what throwing a battery just in the regular landfill bin, what that can cause and the negatives of that. So I think it's mainly about knowledge and spreading that knowledge.
That's a great question. Thank you very much. I'm a first-year SMC student, and when I first got to SMC, I found myself always looking at those maps on campus because I had no idea where to go. And the same also applies for the compost bins, for the recycling bins, for the water refill stations. I didn't know where to find those things. So as Commissioner of Sustainability, I worked with my director to create a map of where you can find all those locations on campus, and hopefully we will implement more of those on campus so that you don't even need a map. Like, everywhere you look, you'll find one. But as for now, we have that map and we're planning to distribute it starting the fall semester of next year. And I'm also thinking about creating an app, kind of like Pokemon Go, but it's more for sustainability at SMC. And you can sort of scan your environment and see where your nearest compost bin, nearest recycling, nearest water refill station would be. So that's something that I have thought about it. And also working with the Corsair newspaper would be great. Any just way to get the word out to people. But that's what I have planned as for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Those are your candidates for sustainability. All right. So our next category is our associated students for Director of Activities. We have Andrea Giraldo. We have Andre Villavicencio and Javier Rodriguez.
Thank you.
You are more than welcome. All right. All right, so we'll start with you. What plans do you have to enhance the variety and quality of campus events, activities to cater to diverse student interests?
Okay, so we know that SMC has a variety of cultures, backgrounds, and religions. And I think that is one of the most special things about SMC. And I believe also that we're predisposed to draw an invisible line between people who have different cultures than us. And I feel like SMC should be the place where we're comfortable enough to erase those lines. I want to create the SMC, the entire community, a place where you can come home. This is what I've done as the president of the International Student Forum for the past year. We have created events to bridge local and international students together. I've also worked at the International Education Center, so the office, and Peer Navigators and Bodega, and I've been part of the behind the scenes of some of the biggest events at SMC. I've been able to see how it is organized, how people think, and I believe that what I could bring here to the table would be to push for more compassion and also push to listen for listening to students more.
Okay, thank you so much. You can pass it over right over there. All right. Okay. Your question is, how will you ensure that AS-sponsored events are accessible, inclusive, and enjoyable for all students?
Right. So, I mean, in my own candidate statement, what I said is that one of the most important values of a community college or a college in general is the culture that surrounds it. You know, like what was said already, our students are based on like all different places. I mean, you have like students from like far away, like I myself, I'm from Burbank. There are some people that are even out of country. So in order to get sponsored events that, like you said, has a more like meaningful impact to tie all the students together, I work on a lot of extracurricular activities outside of Santa Monica. I mean, for example, I created boxing events that not only had people that are just boxers, but like people that had a love for a sport that not many people would assume would love. I mean, it's not just about like the fights, if we're speaking in boxing terms, it's about the beauty of the art that surrounds it and the people that are fighting, the beauty within the people itself. So my values and my core beliefs are that the culture that surrounds it are the people that are in Santa Monica themselves. So by sponsoring events and speaking out on more extracurricular activities that I myself am involved in outside of the college, I can get myself more into the realm of sponsoring events from all cultures. I mean, it's not just like people from Adelante or, you know, the Black Legions, you know, there's more cultures that surround Santa Monica, and it's so beautiful to see that there are people outside of like the realm of like cultures that is surrounded in. So I like to pursue that and motivate other cultures to speak up and be more inside like activities and all that. So thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Your question is, how do you think the AS should prioritize funding for students who wanted to fund their event, activity, or club that you bring to the AS board?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Of course, I'm so sorry. How do you think the AS should prioritize funding for students who want to fund their events, activity, or club that they bring to the AS board?
As a current commissioner of activities, we do have specific deadlines and specific timeline for activities to be proposed in order for those activities to then be created. In order to help clubs or even other students create activities of such, I believe that it would be in their best interest to have an idea and a well-proposed idea. I also believe that, I'm so sorry.
Take your time.
I deterred a bit. Can you repeat the question? I'm so
Of
sorry.
course. How do you think the AS should prioritize funding for students, for student events and clubs?
Okay.
Short enough for you.
So to prioritize fundings for student events or clubs, I believe that as AS should make sure that the event upholds SMC values and their mission statement, as well as making sure that is inclusive not just to the clubs, but also to the students of SMC, since we are a diverse campus and we have many students from many cultural backgrounds and who identify as different genders as well. That's all for my time.
Okay, thank you so much. So we're now going to extend it to the public to ask 2 questions. We only have time for 2, okay? So we're going to cut it to then. All right, okay. We have a question over there. And who is your question for? Is it for all the candidates or just one candidate?
I guess I can do it for all the candidates. So how do you plan to, so just to go back to the last question that you asked, Editor-in-Chief, if you are to prioritize funding for the clubs, how? That's my question.
Oh, how to prioritize them?
I want all of them to answer that question,
Okay, of course.
please.
All right, the one with the mic, you can go right ahead.
I guess I'll go first. So obviously there's like the simple tactic between like fundraising, you know, like fundraising enough money for clubs themselves. I know that from my own personal experience, you know, I'll keep going back to the boxing thing, but I used to make boxing events myself, and I'm familiar with the realm on how to manage events based on my personal boxing events. So one thing we did is obviously make more public. That's the thing, because not many people know of like events that go on. Like I myself, because I'm familiar with things that go on like outside of Santa Monica, and I'm friends with a few people, and they're always like, "Oh, that event's today. I don't even know when that is." So making it more public and gathering more fundraising by not just doing like, you know, like typical like high school cupcake sales or whatever, but more like based on the event itself, what does it correlate with the fundraising more? Like, for example, let's say the fundraising is for like a movie night. We could be like, oh, come to this little like pop-up place where you can discuss movies, or like if you want to donate to this place, it'd be even greater, you know? It's all about knowing your market and knowing who you're selling to, if we're speaking in business terms as well. So that would be my plan, gaining more publicity and the connections that I know. The connections that I know through my own, you know, public ideals would be essential for me.
Thank you. So there's one very interesting that I've realized while being a student here, and is that sometimes my friends ask me, what is AS? What? You're paying for the fee. Or are you paying for the fee? Some people cancel the fee because they're like, what am I paying for really? They don't know what associate student is. And it's really interesting because we are the ones making decisions for that impact all the student body. So how can I prioritize funding? We have to first publicize AS, really make people understand what we are, who we are. That way, if we really get to people, show them our worth, what we want to do, like we want to serve you, then people are going to be obviously more keen to being able to be part of the people that pay the fees. We're going to have more funds for the clubs. If people know more about AS, then clubs, for example, I am the president of the International Student Forum, and I didn't really know that we can collaborate with AS, and it's a great idea. It looked so far away from me, but I know that we can. So I would like to facilitate the collaboration between the government and clubs, not only clubs during the process. And since I've been a president before I was meeting organizer of the club, I know the whole entire process to be able to get funding. And it has become a little more complicated, and it shouldn't be. So I think if we really focus on those things, bringing awareness to what AS is, to what we do, to what we want to do with your money, then we can bring more people in and facilitate club collaborations with us, which we are the ones that are funding those events. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
As it's been stated before, a lot of students aren't aware of who AS are, and it's also that they don't know exactly what we do. As a director of activities, being interactive with each club and participating in their meetings to get an idea of what they bring to SMC will definitely help prioritize the funding. Because like I said before, I think upholding SMC's mission statement and values is important as students who come from local areas and also from outside of the country as well. Another thing would be just making sure that in the long run, all the clubs are aware of how the system works in order of the timeline when proposing their events or their activities.
All right, thank you so much. These are your candidates for AS Director of Activities. Andrea Giraldo, Andrea Giraldo, Andre Villavicencio, and Javier Rodriguez. Thank you so much. The next category that we're going to be calling up will be the AS Secretary, Tiffany Lee. All right, here we go. All right, thank you so much for joining us, Tiffany. Okay, so your question is, how will you streamline communication among the associate students and ensure the efficiency of disseminating information to the student body? So basically, just to make it a little bit easier, how are you going to ensure that information is dispensed to students in an efficient way where everybody gets access to it about AS?
Right. So I know that part of the expected responsibilities for a secretary is having very organized, very good organizational skills. So preparing weekly agendas, and I would also have to coordinate with the AS president and joint council so that these minutes and these agendas are prepared well beforehand. And these agendas are also publicly accessible because this information isn't confidential. It's anyone can view it. And yeah, that would be my answer.
Okay, so we're going to give it over to the public. We're going to answer one question because we're running out of time. I'm going to give it to somebody else to ask a question.
As AS secretary, what do you see as the biggest, I guess, challenge to you that will, like, a biggest upcoming challenge to you, and how do you plan on overcoming that?
I see the biggest challenge would probably be maybe punctuality is very important. So I would always have to deliver this information in a very timely manner, and I can see how that can be very complicated when there's a lot to be done and there's a lot on the agenda. But in order to overcome this challenge, I think I have pretty strong time management skills, and I also have my own efficient system in managing records and minutes and taking notes. So I would make use of those skills to the best of my abilities.
All right, thank you so much. We actually do have time for one more question for Tiffany. Does anybody have a question? All right, thank you so much, Tiffany. Oh, you didn't put up your hand? You can go right ahead and ask a question.
Are you running by yourself?
Yes, I'm running by myself.
Oh, okay, you got my vote.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Tiffany. That is Tiffany Lee running for AS Secretary. All right. The next category is the student trustees, Esmeralda Hernandez and Zoe Muntaner. You guys can come sit over here.
Hello, everybody.
All right, are you guys ready for your questions?
Yes.
All right. How do you plan to effectively represent the diverse needs and interests of the student body as a trustee?
Hi, everyone. So my name is Esmeralda to begin with. A little bit about myself to answer this question. I'm a first-generation student with my parents being immigrants, undocumented students, and it's a privilege to attend a community college where, one, it's affordable, two, I'm able to explore and my academic careers. How I'm able to serve as a student trustee is being able to let the trustees know my experiences and the 2.1 million students who attend a community college. Not only is community college an affordable and effective way for students who are not able to afford college, but it's an opportunity. I'm able to communicate that to my trustees. As a student trustee, I'm able to be a representative to the unheard. Community college is an important part of California and in our government. And I'm proud to be a community college student and be a diverse representative if I do become a student representative. Thank you.
Thank you for your answer. All right.
Can you repeat the question?
So you're going to get a different question. All right. So how do you intend to bridge the communication gap between students and the college administration as a trustee?
Thank you. That is a great question, and one that I have plenty of experience with. I joined Santa Monica College last March, and this is my second year. And it has been challenging since the fall, and particularly this semester. I'm sure that a lot of other people are facing the challenges that are part of the student life, especially with financial aid, especially with a student with disability, and especially as a student that is in a non-traditional path. You know, one of the things that I noticed about the slate that was built is that they are not including someone of an older generation. And diversity includes people with disabilities that are neurodiverse. Diversity is also people with different ages and different generations, because in that way, we truly have diverse perspectives that can impact the whole community, not only a segment of the community. So I'm the only candidate in the whole, list of candidates that is a non-traditional student. And because disabilities sometimes are invisible, I'm coming out with mine, but I don't know any other students with a disability that it's running. One of the things, 3 minutes, 30 seconds, one of the things that I want that is to build that awareness of what true disability and what true diversity is, because we are not including everybody on the board, and everybody deserves a seat in the table.
Thank you so much. We're going to extend one question to the audience. Who would like to ask any questions to our candidates sitting here in front of us right now? The time is now. Oh. Oh, it's not right. Oh, okay. Maybe it's just lower. Yeah, you'll just speak loud. Mhm.
My name is Drew, and my question is, how are you going to ensure that queer voices are heard? Because there's a lot of hidden homophobia and transphobia on campus.
How will I make sure that LGBT voices are heard? One of the biggest, there's the equity and diversity program, not program, but department below the associated students. It is brand new, and most of our students there feel comfortable. One of the biggest clubs also that is fairly active since COVID did make an issue of students, the inactivity, but we are seeing an overflow of students coming now to our campuses, which is great. Honestly, talking to the LGBTQ clubs that are on campus and the equity and diversity department that is already here on campus, there's still voices here, and I know if we just reach out to our students, it would be a great opportunity. As your student trustee, I would make sure to talk to the clubs, talk to students who feel as if their voices are not heard. Definitely, I want to make it an inclusive space where students can generally just come to me and know who their trustees are. As the trustees are people who govern this district. Since you all know, Santa Monica College is a single district, meaning that the 7 board of trustees would govern and make important decisions for you all. As a student trustee, I would be representing you and some of the important issues as students who often left unheard. As my experiences as a first-generation student, parents who are undocumented, and a student who really didn't know that high school was important, and now coming to community college as a privilege, and I'm proud to be a community college student. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. It's very, very important because every day in the news, we find stories of hate crimes against this particular community. And that's why I was addressing what true diversity means, and it's including everybody. Back in 2013, I brought to the City Council of Santa Monica, not the Board of Trustees, but the city government, the Charter for Compassion, that it was a document that came out of the TED conference back in 2012. And it was a document that was extended to governments, institutions, and families or individuals that wanted to affirm principles of compassion. And I got a unanimous vote for the city of Santa Monica to sign the Charter for Compassion. I would like the city, the Board of Trustees of Santa Monica College to also sign the Charter for Compassion and to abide by the principles of the Charter for Compassion. I have run for city council in the city of Santa Monica twice, so I know all the voices at city government, and that's how I knew all the members of the current Board of Trustees in Santa Monica. I also know the members of the rent control, and I participate at the meetings of the rent control because I think one of the issues that your particular community face is the fairness when it comes to the housing market. and there's a lot of discrimination in that area. So we need to do better, and we need to work not only at the Board of Trustees meeting, but with the City Attorney's Office, with the City Council, with the Rent Control Board, and we need to have someone at the Board of Trustees that know the people already and that have connections already. Yesterday, I had a meeting with two staffers from Congressman Ted Lieu, Aurelia Friedman, that is the Special Projects Manager and the Senior Field Representative for Congressman Lieu. And I also, have connections with Congress, and we'll bring them to the table.
All right, thank you so much to our two candidates who are running for student trustees, Esmeralda Hernandez and Zoe Muntaner. Francis Yang, who is also running, is unfortunately not here with us today, but those are your three candidates running for student trustee. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask David Duncan, who is running for AS President, to come on stage. Thank you so much, Duncan, for joining us today. You are the only person who is running for president. That is I admire your bravery. Okay, so the question that we have for you today is, last semester, there was a controversy surrounding the AS and ICC decision to not recognize SSI as a club. There was a lot of backlash for the decision they took. Soon after, the college put out a statement citing that the decision had been overturned and SSI was instated as a club. Do you agree with how the AS handled the situation? If so, why? If not, state how you would have handled the situation differently.
Wow, giving me the real easy questions right off the bat. So the whole ICC fiasco last semester was really unfortunate, and I feel really bad about it. I mean, the whole way, it was just the situation, it could have been handled better, it was just kind of a mess, I think, especially at the meeting, a lot of the students didn't know what they were voting on. And at least when it comes to a lot of the impact of those controversies on campus, I do feel that the AS should be taking a more active role in reaching out to students and helping them through these really difficult times. It's also, too, I do feel like, we need to be working with people like campus police and other people to help make sure our students are safe. I mean, one of the big things to come out of that mess was a huge spike in reports of, hate incidents on campus and people getting harassed. And I feel like in order to be able to have conversations and build a safe and nurturing environment for students, we need to really crack down on sorts of people who will, attack and abuse our student body.
Thank you so much for that answer. I'm going to give it over to the student body to ask David one question. Yes, I can. Yes, you can.
As someone who is a leader in our current student government and aspires to the highest leadership, how would you include the voices of those that are not part of your generation and to have a truly diverse student body representation in associated students, because those students are also paying fees?
Yeah, no, I appreciate your question, and I really, that is something I did want to talk about. It does feel like associated students, both, in the makeup of our board, but also just in our role on campus in general, have become increasingly isolated from the rest of the student body. And that is something I really want to correct. I want to make sure we have AS people talking to all of the groups on campus and all of the people, listening to them, and then taking action with administration in order to fix the issues they're experiencing. Specifically, to older students, I mean, I know I look very young, but I am non-traditional, and I did take, 5-6 years off, a break in my schooling in order to work and take care of my grandparents. And I really do feel that, SMC does need to be doing more in order to include, all generations in our work and in our advocacy, and I plan to make sure that that happens.
All right. Thank you so much, David. That is David Duncan running for AS President. Thank you so, so much. Wasn't that bad, was it? All right. So I am going to call, so sorry, they're not here today. So I'm going to call up the student running for AS Director of Publicity, Gabriel Hernandez Perez. Yep, you're more than welcome. All right, thank you so much for joining us today. Okay, Gabriel. Oh, my computer's gone off. I'm so sorry about that. All right, we're back online. Sorry about that. Okay, so Gabriel, your question is, how will you engage with students to gather feedback and assess the effectiveness of AS publicity efforts?
Well, thank you for the question. And the first thing I would do is try to get them more connected, because we don't just have students on campus, but we also have students online. And most of the time the struggle is that students online don't know anything that's happening on campus, and students on campus don't know anything that's happening online. So my main goal is to try to connect both of them and to bring them together so they all know what's happening on campus or online. Because when I started coming on campus, I didn't know anything about happening online, some webinars, some FAFSA attacks, or like anything that's happening. And that would be something I would want everybody to know or to be aware of.
Okay, we're going to take it back to the crowd to ask a question. Anyone has a question?
Hi, Gabriel. What would be your approach to getting more online students active and engaged on campus? Because I know that after COVID, the campus, people have talked about it being pretty dead. And I think there's a lot that could be done for that side of the community, getting them more involved on the great activities and resources that we have on this campus. So how would you approach that?
How would I approach it? Well, I would try to create some, I would use their social media. I'm not sure which social media I would have to use, if it's the AS or the SMC in general, but I would try to create some type of way so they can engage, not just look at it, but try to engage with them directly. I also would try to host some Zoom meetings or something of the sort so I can make them aware of everything, and if they have a question, I could answer the question. Another thing is I would try to also engage with people of older generation, because I know that's something important that a lot of people are feel like they're not getting as much engagement as they want, or people who are queer, because as myself, I'm queer, and I want to get them involved with everything that school offers them, such as the Equity Center, the student for disability. I also have a disability, so I would try to engage with all of them, not just some type of students, but everybody, so they can have a voice.
Thank you for speaking out about your diversity, your personal diversity. I'm Latina, I'm an immigrant as well. I come from Puerto Rico, so I moved here 25 years ago. Perhaps you were not even born. Do you currently know the ratios and the composition of the student body as it relates to diversity? Meaning, how much percentage is white, Black, Latino, Asian, over 50 years old? Do you have that ratio, and can you share it with us?
Unfortunately, I don't have it yet because I'm not part of the AES or don't have access to that type of information. However, that's something I would have to look into so I can know who to reach the most, because I know that most of the times we only look at specific people, but we don't really know who our target is. So I would try to look into it so I can have a good way to engage with everybody and communicate with everybody and know who to communicate with or engage with.
That is the main springboard to if you're running for that position. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gabriel. Thank you so much. Please give him a round of applause. And then we are going to call on our AS Directors of Equity and Diversity. The only candidate that we have here today is Valerie Salgado. So I'm going to call you up to come and answer one question. Valerie, as you're running for AS Director of Equity and Diversity, what steps will you take to ensure that equity and diversity are integrated into AS policies, programs, and initiatives?
That's a very good question. So my name is Valeria Castillo, and I'm running for Associate Student Director of Equity and Diversity. And I think one of the biggest steps we need to take as an associated student body is to recognize all of the diverse groups that exist within our campus and online as well. Some of them have come out in this event, and they're not recognized every day in the campus equally. We see that there's a lot of presence for the Adelante and the Black Legions, which is great, but we also have to recognize all of the other groups that exist in our campus, as well as all of the other abilities that we share, because I believe that every person has unique abilities, and a community college is just try to exploit them and make them able to succeed in whatever their area of interest is. And that's the ultimate purpose of us as associated students, to help us each reach our unique potential, and to make sure that everybody has the support they need to be able to do that.
Okay, I'm going to give it over to the public to ask Valerie one question. You can go right ahead, Brianna.
So I noticed that you guys keep bringing up is it Aliante?
Adelante, bro.
Say it again?
Adelante.
Adelante?
Mhm.
Thank you. And the Black Allegiance, as two comparatives when you guys refer to diversity. These groups have worked, they worked out, for themselves, right? They are two big identifiers, and two actually big regions, I would say, that are really not that big. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, what other groups are you now trying to represent? Because you guys keep referring to these groups who have worked really hard to build up their community, right? And then now we have other groups who are not, or haven't associated themselves with other, or haven't tied themselves to other groups. Well, we have the LGBTIA plus groups. We have, what other groups are you now trying to, what other branches are you looking for to make inclusive? What are you saying to me? Or what are you trying to say to your student body that makes it inclusive?
Thank you so much for your question. Well, we see representation for the Latino community, which I'm part of, and the Black Legions, and they have a lot of support, such as the book donations that I was able to fortunately access. However, we don't see as much as representation for the Asian Pacific community, which is very important, as well as the Middle Eastern community. And I think, as well as many others, but there's just some of the groups that are more predominant in the campus. So we should support them in making their own communities as strong as the other ones that we already have.
Thank you for your comments and your answer. I will ask you the same question that I asked the prior gentleman. What is the ratio of students, if you are aware of, in the student population? And also, I would like you to define diversity and define equity.
That's a very good question, very important to recognize what we're talking about. Well, I believe the exact demographics are in public information. However, there's a composition of the campus that is represented by the groups organizations that we have currently. And I think it is important to listen to all of them equally and to make sure that we are addressing their specific needs and interests. And to address the second part of your question, to me, diversity, it's and equity, it's something very general, but it needs to be very general because it addresses a lot of topics that, such as we have been brought up today. It means to be inclusive of everybody, regardless of whatever shape they come from as a human.
Equity, what is the definition of equity?
Equity is for everybody to have just the right support that they need to be able to succeed just as everybody else.
All right. Okay, I'm going to have all of our candidates come up to the front. I will be announcing the candidates who were unavailable today, who were unable to attend. You guys, yeah, you can come up to the front. So, thank you so much, Valerie. Okay, so for our students who were unable to attend but are running, in the category of student trustee, Francis Yang, who's running, was unable to attend. Our AS Director of Student Outreach, Louisiane Turdon, was unable to attend, and she is the only one running for this category. AS Director of Equity and Diversity, Nora Ibrahim, was unable to attend. AS Director of External Affairs, Samay Beji, was unable to attend. And AS Judicial Board position, Zhengqi Yang and Eduardo Guzman, was unable to attend. Zhengqi has presented us with a statement for all of his student body to know, and it reads as follows. Hello, fellow students. I'm Zhengqi Zhang, a political science major student at SMC. Although I'm unable to attend the AS Election Forum in person today, I'm grateful for the opportunity to submit a written statement. I'm an academic. In my academic journey in political science, I have deeply been ingrained by the values of fairness and justice, principles I've come to see as essential not only in the legal and political arenas, but in our day-to-day interactions as well. It's this realization that motivates my desire to serve on the Judicial Board. My goal as a member of the Judicial Board is to foster an environment where every student feels valued, respected, and heard. I understand the challenges and complexities involved in addressing and resolving conflicts within our diverse community. However, I am committed to approaching each issue with empathy, fairness, and an unwavering commitment to integrity. What sets me apart is my strong belief in the power of communication and teamwork. My experiences both in academic settings and personal endeavors have honed my ability to listen effectively, actively, and engaging constructively and collaborate effectively towards achieving common goals. As a board member, I will prioritize creating a more inclusive campus culture where decisions are made transparently and policies are reviewed with a critical, empathetic lens. I envision a community where every voice, regardless of its volume or origin, is considered valuable and impactful. I invite you to support me in this journey towards building a campus that upholds the highest standards of justice and mutual respect. Together, let's work to ensure school is not only a place of academic excellence, but also a beacon of fairness and inclusivity. Again, that is a message from Zhang, so sorry. And he is running for AS Judicial Board position. And we have a statement from Semi Beje. She says she is running for the Director of External Affairs position. The most important thing they hope to achieve in their candidacy is creating a powerful impact on the Corsair community. In order to keep you all updated, I will be committed to doing research in legislative matters affecting education. I want to advocate for the student interests at every level. Thus, I will organize open forums for public civic expressions. That is their statement. Thank you so much to all of you who have joined us today. It's been a pleasure to have you all. For all of you who probably do not know, voting, please remember that the AS elections will be held online on the Corsair Connect from April 1st to the 4th, April to the 4th, 2024. So remember to vote. Please also remember that this event has been recorded and will be posted on the Corsair YouTube page later today for all of those who were unable to attend. And to the candidates, thank you for your dedication and your passion for change. Your commitment to serving your peers is admirable, and thank you for the bravery to stand in front here today and let them hear your voice. And to everyone here, thank you for joining us. Your engagement makes our democracy stronger. Thank you so much for everyone who attended. Take a good look at your candidates, see their face, put it in your memories, because this is going to be who's representing you, hopefully. Thank you so much again, guys. Thank you. Okay. Oh, there are candidates who would like to give you their social media account.
Yes, yesterday I sent an email to all the candidates and to the SA community to include our social medias. So you can find me in Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And yes, SMC Zoe for SMC student trustee, so ZOE for SMC.
I'm part of the Let's Go SMC slate, along with Gabriel, Esme, David, Tiffany, Javier, and we're missing a few today, unfortunately. But we are Let's Go SMC on Instagram, so be sure to go check us out. Thank you.